This is Always Ready, Matt Cardona, the internet champion and the host of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. But there's another podcast I want you to check out, and that is the Crash and Burn Podcast. Check it out every single episode. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, do all that fun stuff, and you never know. Maybe one day you'll see the Crash and Burn Podcast take on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast in the middle of the ring. And you know who's going to win? Me. Because you guys, you're not always ready. Crash and Burn!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode here on the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast, the fastest rising podcast here in professional wrestling. Tonight, as Bad Pay-Per-View Month continues, we are going to reveal one of the most shitty WrestleManias I've ever seen in my entire life, which Dwayne Johnson said it was going to be a memorable negative. But it was held here in the Georgia Dome, which exploded in 2017. But it's held in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia.
We're playing another one. You playing?
Well, we're going to be Mania 27. It's a shitty WrestleMania, so yeah. I am Jason, and as someone is talking to Wyatt right now, I guess I'll temporarily take over until he's back. First up, Josh.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the fastest rising podcast in pro wrestling today, the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. Today, we're going to go back into our time machine, going back to the year 2011. Jesus Christ. It's been that long already? I think it is, but
like
we're going to be reviewing WrestleMania 27. Now, I remember this pay-per-view. I remember, as a kid, you really don't get to, talk about things later on. You're like, oh, I hated this, now more than I do when I was younger. So this is going to be a pretty mixed episode for me because I liked some matches, but watching them now, my opinions have changed. So let's get started, and we have a very special return that we would like to get to.
All right,
Go ahead.
Next up, we have Jaden.
Hey-o. Look, they do not say the ceiling. Don't say that.
Yeah, AJ, the ceiling, bro. Up here.
And
Next
Yeah,
up
somebody
is
else say who their name, whoever your government name.
All right.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the fastest rising podcast about professional wrestling, the Crash and fucking Burn Wrestling Podcast. And right now,
Shut the fuck up, AJ. Ladies and gentlemen, God, it's been a long time since I've said that. Yes, indeed, it is me, Evan. I have made my long-awaited return to doing this podcast. This is probably going to be a one-off thing for a while. But yeah, it's nice to be back for this special little occasion. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing this WrestleMania because I've seen it way more times than I'm willing to admit. So, yeah.
yeah,
Welcome back.
welcome back to
Thank
Standing
you,
Ovation
thank
for
you.
Evan.
Appreciate it.
First time in
Thank
over a year.
First time in over
Yeah,
a
it's
year.
definitely been quite a while. Yeah.
the last time Evan appeared on a podcast here was the day before Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And now it's almost like exactly a year to the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But
So,
yeah,
Are you
nonetheless.
guys ready for the card?
Yeah, let's
you
get
ready
into
for
it.
Do
Let's
it.
get into it.
E.
All right, guys, ready for the first match? We're all going to shit on this one. Daniel Bryan and Sheamus ended in a no contest for the United States Championship.
bullshit.
Wait, hold on. I might have been confused. We're reviewing WrestleMania 27, right?
Yeah, but Daniel Bryan and Sheamus fought on the pre-show for the U.S. title.
Oh, and that, okay, right. Gotcha.
Yeah, literally, they had a match there. That shows that was definitely the pre-show of the next Mania. Because they had a match the following year for a world title, which outlasted 18 seconds.
Hmm. Okay, I've never seen that match ever. Like the one on this Mania. I didn't even know it existed until now. So
It was a lumberjack match. So, you
Okay.
like Evan?
Who's going?
Evan.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Evan.
well, I mean, I didn't even know that this match existed. Hold on, this is the WrestleMania where the main event is Cena and Miz, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I've never seen this match on this card, so I can't really say anything about it.
Okay.
So
AJ?
yeah.
This match sucks. I ended with a no contest. Are you serious right now? This is why this WrestleMania sucks, because they're doing these endings that are pointless. Fuck this match.
Okay, Josh.
Honestly, watching it, you know, younger me, honestly, you enjoy everything, and you say, "Oh, this was a good match." But when you get older, your opinions change, and that's what happened to me. I watched this match back. Holy shit, that was nothing but shit. So, you know, like I said, my opinions have changed over the years about certain events that I've watched as a kid. I mean, as a kid, you enjoy everything. And then when you become a teenager, it's, and then to an adult, it changes. So for me, the match could have ended up not in a no contest. It could have ended up in a better solution. They could have ended it something better. Like, you could have ended it in, a submission, pinfall. Either, if worse came to worse, you could have ended it in a countout or a DQ. But a no contest? We wanted to see some action, bro. So, 0, that was a fucking terrible match.
Jason.
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I have never seen the match, so I could care less.
Jaden.
I'm just found out there's not a fight at this Mania, so I can't really speak on that.
Okay. You guys may remember this match, though, on the pre-show. Minutes later, the Great Khali won a 20-man battle royal by last eliminating Sheamus. Non-title match.
What? Are you kidding me, bro?
Yeah.
I've never seen the pre-show to this Mania, so I don't even
me
know what the
neither.
fuck. I don't know what this is.
I rarely
That
remember it.
battle royal was freaking awful.
Yeah, I've only ever seen just like the WrestleMania itself, not the pre-show.
Like, literally, you had Sheamus compete against Triple H last year, which you were. And
It was a
then
really
the
good match.
following year, you get eliminated by the Great Khali on the pre-show of WrestleMania.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Jason.
I have never watched the match, so fuck. So you know what? Screw this match. Fuck it.
Jaden.
Never watched didn't know that match happened either. Somebody else.
Evan.
I mean, yeah, I've never watched. I mean, I usually never watch the WrestleMania pre-shows for any of them, so this is one I also didn't see, so I can't really say anything.
AJ.
Whatever happened to that battle royal, it sucks, and it should have been a title match at least. Fuck this match, and this has to be a random winner with no point, no build-up storyline following.
God damn it, kid! Why can't you say anything nice about the damn company?
Alright, the guy who's holding a Vince McMahon figure.
I just did it a piss at you. Well, Great Khali, honestly, here's the thing that I really wanted to say right now, and it just popped in my head, actually. They had the Great Khali back in the day as this giant badass. He was a former world champion. And then they have Great Khali turn into the Punjabi Playboy as a fucking comedy gimmick. Like, you literally turn this monster of a guy who literally almost killed John Cena back in the day, literally left him lying unconscious on the freaking ramp, and you literally had him as the world champion. But honestly, I can't complain. I always loved Khali growing up. I thought when he was doing the Punjabi Playboy gimmick, that was fucking hilarious. But honestly, Vince Vince, you like stupid comedy gimmicks, huh? Yeah, comedy's great. Stupid
Yeah, in
comedy,
2011 was when the Great Khali started to fail in his career.
Yeah, and I always liked Khali. He would be so entertaining just to watch. And as years went by, like he was jobbing and stuff like that, and then now he went into the Hall of Fame, which he was a big part of my childhood. But honestly, it was a great moment. But why last eliminate Sheamus? You could have had maybe Sheamus win, but that's sad. That is very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. You have the Great Khali last eliminate Sheamus. Like, come on, man. But honestly, it was all right.
Assassin
Did you think it was all right, Vince? Yeah, it was all right. Damn it.
All right. You guys ready to talk about the main show stuff we actually watched?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as this match disappointed me, even though I'm great with the winner, Edge defeated Alberto Del Rio to retain his Edge.
Yeah.
I want to start this one
Yeah.
off, and there's a very
Okay.
important reason
All
why.
I'm gonna say
Go
is
ahead.
This one really, really pissed me off because why would Alberto Del Rio win the Royal Rumble that year, which made no sense? You had the guy literally in 4 months in the company, and you have him win the Royal Rumble, which he never accomplished anything in his career. He's a dirty human being. I hate that man with every bone in my body. The man, I'm going to get to that later about who should have won. But he should have had, if Edge knew he was going to retire soon, I think Edge versus Christian should have been Edge's last match. And that way, because literally, no, what happened was Edge relinquished the title, retired, and then Christian fought Del Rio in a ladder match at Extreme Rules, which was very stupid. Which I think it would have been Christian versus Edge would have been better for me. My opinion.
Well, personally, I think I have definitely a very different perspective on this. So here's
And
the
Evan, you want
thing.
to go?
Yeah, I have a definitely different opinion on this kind of whole matter. So I do agree with the fact that, like, honestly, I mean, my big gripe with it isn't necessarily the fact that Del Rio was immediately kind of just thrown into this main event spotlight, but I mean, the whole, point of winning the Royal Rumble is that if you win, then you face the world champion in the main event, as in the final match on the show of WrestleMania. And instead, they had it go on first, which I thought was kind of a weird choice. And that kind of just defeats the purpose of it. But here's the thing. Let's be honest. Yes, it's been well established and well documented and well known for a while that Del Rio is not a good guy in the slightest. But I mean, this might just be my opinion. The dude could work. He genuinely was not a bad wrestler, and especially not a bad heel in the slightest. So I feel like, for example, let me give an example. If you can go back and you can watch Chris Benoit's matches and you can enjoy them and not focus on what he did, you can do the same with Del Rio. And personally, in my opinion, that ladder match at Extreme Rules against Christian is a really solid ladder match. I like it. I've seen it a million times. It's not a bad match. So maybe that's just me, but I do agree with the fact that I do think that Edge should have won, and I also think that I think that they easily could have maybe turned Edge and Del Rio into some kind of weird, like, long-term storyline, maybe, I don't know. But no, it wasn't a bad match in my opinion. I mean, it could have been longer, it was kind of short, and I do agree that Edge should have won, but, like, I don't really have much else to say about it other than I think that, like, things could have been done better. I think that this might sound weird, but maybe if they had introduced Del Rio into the company maybe at least a full year before winning the Rumble, people would have been able to actually be given a chance to get behind him. But as you mentioned, he was only in the company for less than 6 months, and less than 6 months is not enough time to allow the fans to get behind a character in wrestling. So, yeah, but no, I think the match was okay. I mean, I don't think it was one of the highlights of the night. We'll get to the matches that were actually really good, but the only 3 that there are. But no, I think this match was okay. It's not one of the best. It's definitely not the best of either Edge or Del Rio's careers.
I mean,
But I thought it was okay. And also, before we get on the rest of it, I just want to say that I know this WrestleMania is bad, but the entrance stage is really good.
It was
like, and it sucks that, like, a good entrance stage like that is attributed to a very bad show. But no, I love the stage for this WrestleMania. I thought it was really cool. I thought it looked nice. But yeah.
Of course, you got to give love to the stage.
Hold on. before I say anything, as you might have saw, Christian managed Edge that night, and
Yeah.
Brodus Clay managed Alberto Del Rio because Brodus Clay was actually Del Rio's NXT rookie at the time. Because Brodus Clay was getting called up to the main
The
roster.
Funkasaurus, yeah, the greatest wrestler of all time. Yeah.
Yeah.
The greatest comedy wrestler of the mid 2000s.
The match was, solid, but what did you have happen after the match? You had Edge and Christian beat the living shit out of Alberto Del Rio's car, which they should have done is just push it off the stage and crush it.
Yeah. But yeah, I do still like I said, I mean there are wrestlers who have done very questionable things. I mean, Razor Ramon killed a man. Granted, it was in self-defense, but Scott Hall did once kill a man. He's talked about that in depth before. I mean, Shawn Michaels was the biggest asshole of the 1990s. That's been well established. I mean, the list goes on for these amazing wrestlers who have done some really bad things. So like again, if we can forgive quote unquote forgive somebody like Benoit for doing what he did and still go back and watch his matches and appreciate his talents and contributions to the wrestling business, we can do the same with Del Rio. I do stand by the fact that Del Rio was genuinely a good wrestler and a good heel. Again, not a good guy, definitely not, but I mean he could put on a good show with pretty much almost anybody.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Jaden.
I'm pretty despite the things that Del Rio has done in his personal life, you can't really like say, oh, he's not a bad wrestler.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, at the time it was a big flex for him to say, oh, I was Edge's opponent. Well, not really anymore because Edge is back now. Well, part-time though, but you guys get the point.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have to agree with Evan hands down. You have to, despite, I'm going to go with the Chris Benoit. I'm not going to go into full detail because that's another subject.
And everyone pretty much knows what Benoit did.
Yeah, but like, you gotta, the match to end off Edge's career, that was the most emotional, thing for me because Edge is my favorite wrestler of all time. And watching his last match, and then the night after, I think, or a few days after WrestleMania, he announced that he was retiring. I just couldn't believe it. Like, Edge was like the main influence to me watching wrestling and me loving it to this very day. And and the thing with Del Rio, with these wrestlers, you can't like say, oh, fuck this guy and fuck that guy. They're assholes. One was a murderer and one fucking went to jail for some shit. They're fucking horrible people. They fucking did this and that. You hear these people complain and they don't shut up. But here's the thing. I agree with Evan, and I agree because with Chris Benoit, you respect the wrestler Chris Benoit, not the person.
Exactly.
That's bad.
Go back, and WWE may not reference him, but you gotta watch Chris Benoit's matches, and I have watched some of his matches, and he was one hell of a wrestler, man. But him with his health and everything, despite the fact that when Eddie passed away, he wasn't the same. But you gotta respect the dude for what he's done to the business, not what he's done to his own life.
That was pretty much his downfall.
It's the same with Alberto Del Rio. I agree, Alberto Del Rio was a great wrestler. You can't say nothing bad about.
You can appreciate the wrestler, the character, but the person, that's a whole nother story.
Exactly, you got that right. But
you got that right.
You have to respect the wrestler, the character, Alberto Del Rio. The character, Chris Benoit. Not
El Patron and whatever Chris Benoit's real name is, that's a whole nother person.
Like,
true. And also for the record, I mean, yeah, like my favorite ladder match of all time is Benoit versus Jericho from Royal Rumble 2001. I mean, that ladder match is just out of this world with how good it is.
For a lot of you guys watching this episode, when this is uploaded, definitely check out Dark Side of the Ring. They go full depth of how stuff really went deep and so dark in the business. I really recommend you guys
Sometimes
check out.
Dark Side of the Ring makes you
But-
hate wrestling business.
It really
Yeah,
like
a little
definitely
bit.
check out the Chris Benoit one if you
Oh
guys
yeah.
want to know what really happened. But like I said, I agree with Evan. You can't, respect what they do on the outside of the ring. You got to respect inside the ring and in the business.
Exactly.
They were both fantastic wrestlers. Chris Benoit, his career lives on somehow. Even though WWE doesn't mention him or anything like that, his matches still live on, and they will live on as long as it will be. But going back to Edge and Del Rio, sorry, I'm being like AJ, making it a whole fucking novel, but
It's
this
alright.
topic is deep. This is a topic that takes very serious in me, so forgive me for that. But with the match, it was kind of an emotional match for me, being an Edge fan, because it was I guess you could say it was his last match in his last WrestleMania at that time, and I'm glad he walked out the world champion to end his career off the first time. And Edge, with what he's done, he's had a hell of a career.
Oh, that's right. Edge did win this match, didn't he? Did I earlier say that Edge should have
he
won,
won.
implying that he
Edge
didn't?
retained.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Whoops, my mistake.
But I agree
Fuck.
with Wyatt on Del Rio winning the Rumble. They had him win early. Like, he was still fairly new to the company. Like, he debuted in 2010, I should assume. And he was not even there for not even a year. Like, he came in 2010, 2011 came along. He was only there for 2 years. They have him win the 2011 Rumble. Okay, we get it. We know he's going to go to WrestleMania and choose Edge as his opponent. Because, Vince is like, yeah, I love this guy. He's fucking amazing. Can't fucking shit. But Vince, Vince, you didn't do that, right? Did you? No, I didn't. Then he left and shit. But, I don't know, but, it was a great way to end off Edge's career like that, having him retain, having Christian, his best friend of 20 years, by his side to watch that final moment. But, here's a good old topic from our good buddy over at GTS Wrestling, Grim. And Grim has said this before about Christian, why he doesn't like Christian. And I don't get this. So, he said they tried to make Christian the next Edge, which wasn't the case. They were basically, saying, oh, Edge is, retired. Who do we have left? It's Christian. So, because they know, oh, Christian's friends with Edge. Christian knows a little of Edge's moves. He did the spear, but not the best of spears. Edge has done it a little better. But to end this off, I know I'm like fucking AJ, Jesus Christ. I'm losing brain cells, but it was a good match. It was good. I liked how they ended it off with Edge winning in his final match, and I'm glad he's back, 9 years later, part-time, despite the fact that he's doing his thing. He's wrestling again, and he's in his safe zone. So, and he's doing it in his front of his kids now, which get to experience that. So, and Beth Phoenix too. So, it was a great way to end off Edge's career for the first time. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Thank you for this novel, and AJ, don't inspire me to do this.
AJ, go ahead before you fall asleep.
Yeah,
Alright,
go ahead.
I want to try to get this
This
episode
match-
done. Josh, I understand you've been writing novels, but I'm trying to get this episode done.
Gotcha.
AJ.
This match was alright, not the best match of the night. I understand Alberto was a decent wrestler, but he was definitely not one of my favorites because I didn't really care about him. Because like his character was a little bit boring to me, but the real person is a real piece of shit. Like him in real life, piece of shit. Decent wrestler in the ring, but Edge is a fucking joke. They had an alright match.
That he is.
All right, who else won here?
All right, I'll just go then.
Did Jaden go?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. So, no, I respect Alberto's talent, and I know he was not a good human being, and yeah, I think Edge I think Edge retaining this is a good choice, and yeah, that's all I'll say. I'll just keep it short.
All
All right, what's the next match on the show?
All right, next match was Cody Rhodes defeated Rey Mysterio.
Oh,
Here we go.
God.
Okay.
I'll go. I'll make mine short and simple. Maybe we'll see.
Okay. All I'm gonna say about this match, I really, I mean, it didn't have a reason why it should have been at WrestleMania because this is probably one of the most random matches in WrestleMania history. All started back in January where, where Rey Mysterio accidentally 619 Cody Rhodes in the bridge in the nose, which made him wear that mask. So, putting a paper bag over your head. And then going on to WrestleMania. And, of course, what the match had to do was with Cody's injury with his nose and his mask and Rey Mysterio's knee brace and all. But, I mean, this is probably a very forgettable match ever at WrestleMania. Because, in all honest, Rey Mysterio's Captain America inspired gear was pretty nice. But, very upsetting that Cody would actually win this match. But, and look at this. Sheamus recently became Cody Rhodes Mask 2.0, and he really did nothing with it. So.
Yeah, that gimmick was a flop.
At least.
And now Rich Holland's wearing this
Cody
stupid
really
mask.
showed it all, But all I'm gonna really say is, this was probably one of the this match was probably one of the reasons why, this Mania was kind of bad. So, AJ, want to go?
Yeah. This match I didn't care about, and to be honest, it was kind of not the best match of the night.
Ooh.
And he looks like he's about to fall asleep.
Okay, let me go next because I have to get this off my chest.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, actually, I think I said this before we started recording. In my opinion, there are only 3 good matches on this entire show. In my opinion, we're on match number 1. I think this match is genuinely. No. I meant as in like one of the 3 good matches. This is the first. This is the first match. That's one of the only good ones. And yeah, no, like I think that this match is insanely good, and it's one of the only saving graces of this WrestleMania, and there's not many. I personally think that Cody and Rey had a lot of chemistry. I mean, the Captain America gear is always nice, and I think that it made sense for Cody to win because Cody is a heel and Rey Mysterio is a babyface, and as far as the story was concerned, it made sense kind of for Cody to win to progress their story. Even though they didn't, I don't think they had a rematch at like a pay-per-view after this, which is upsetting because I think that they could have done some really cool things together. But the funny thing is, here's a fun fact about this match. This match was entirely Rey's idea. Rey basically was going around to people and saying, "Hey, I don't have a WrestleMania opponent, and I want to have a match this year." And then at one point, Rey ran into Cody and was like, "Hey, let's do something together. But the rule is you have to come up with the story. We're gonna have the match, but you have to come up with the story." And Cody was like, "Okay, fuck it." And then it's this great story because Cody told it years ago, and I watched the video recently. What happened was Rey and so Cody writes this story and he's like absolutely insanely happy about it because he thinks he has like gold, right? And then he texts Rey and he's like, "Hey, I have the story." And then Rey doesn't get back to him for like a week. And then he meets up with Rey again in person, and Rey, fucking I shit you not, says, "Hey Cody, come here." And they go, and Rey just busts down Vince's door and was like, "Hey, WrestleMania, let me have a match with Cody." And Vince is like, "Okay, well, is it gonna be good shit? Do you have the story?" And then and then Cody's like, "Yeah," and he reaches in his pocket, gives him the paper that he wrote the story. And Vince just looks at it and he's like, "Okay, you're all set." And yeah, so this match was entirely Rey's idea, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, no, in my opinion, again, this match is really good. And I think that if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it because this is one of the only 3 good matches on the entire card, and I thought that it was awesome. But that's just me.
Okay, Jason.
Yeah, from seeing this match the first time, I thought it was okay. Not really not really a match I'll go back to, but it's pretty cool, and I like the story, and I agree with Evans.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, I mean, like, name me a single like shitty, horrible match with Rey, except for the match where he accidentally killed a guy. Aside from that one, name me a bad match with Rey. Because I mean, honestly, like Rey is amazing. Rey is one of those people where like you can always count on him to give like a top tier performance. And keep in mind that like during this time in the company, Cody, I don't feel like Cody was never treated right in WWE, but I think that during this time, I mean, yeah, like I don't think that Vince gave a shit about Cody at the time, and I don't think that the fans truly appreciated how good he was at the time. And I mean, like you take somebody who's as amazing. I mean, Cody is great and Rey is great. You put them together. I mean, you know what's funny? There are two instances where Rey Mysterio has had a match on pay-per-view, and it was arguably the only good match on the entire show. This was the first time, and the second time was this was WrestleMania in 2011. I think it was later that same year at Capital Punishment. Capital Punishment is a horrible pay-per-view. It sucks. But Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk is one of the best matches I've ever seen, and it's on that horrible show. Just for the record, guys, if you have not seen Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk from Capital Punishment 2011, absolutely go watch it because it's really good. It's really, really, really good. So yeah, that's just proof of how good Rey is. I mean, he can make you forget about how horrible an entire pay-per-view is if he's on it and has a good match with somebody because he always just delivers.
That's
just who he is. So, yeah, no, I do think that this match was genuinely it's worth watching. Rey versus Cody. I think it's worth going back and watching if you get a chance because it's not bad at all. I think it's really good.
I mean, Cody had a really good gimmick with the match. So probably
he did at the time. Yeah, because Cody's a great heel when he wants to be.
Let's see, Jaden.
Only thing I remember from this match was Rey Mysterio being dressed like Captain America.
Yes,
I've actually never watched that match before. And Rey Mysterio and Cody Rhodes, very talented wrestlers. I never really got into Cody back when he was in WWE, but now since he's in AEW, that makes me appreciate him even more.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was decent. Not trash, but decent.
Okay. Josh.
Yeah, that was the thing I was gonna bring up when I was gonna, talk my thoughts about it. Was good point there, Jaden. As bad as this match was, and as better it could have been, yeah, how can you not love Rey Mysterio as Captain America? Come on, that was some fucking badass, gear. The thing I love.
And also, for the record, it makes me still incredibly angry to this day that we've never gotten that attire in elite form in regards to like wrestling action figures. It really upsets me that Mattel hasn't made that yet.
I highly agree.
I hope they do eventually.
The one thing I love about Rey Mysterio is the way he takes his time to design a concept for a Mania game. Like, I know in 2019 he cosplayed as the Marvel character Mysterio, and I know he's done Spider-Man, The Flash, Batman.
Wolverine, the Joker, Batman.
Yeah. He's done a lot of, comic concepts, which is awesome. I love superstars that do that, like Kofi Kingston, that take the time and think about, I'm a comic nerd geek. I'm gonna go make my gear look badass. But the match could have been better. I mean, we did actually, speaking of wrestling figures, we did get a Cody figure in that masked gimmick.
Yeah.
I remember.
And the match could have been better. I felt like, the rivalry where it was going, Rey Mysterio at 619 breaks Cody Rhodes' nose apparently, and starts up this whole big thing leading into WrestleMania. The way it could have been, I would have liked to seen Rey win more than Cody, because we would have gotten somewhere. That's just my opinion. I mean, I always like to see Rey with gold around his waist. I think he just looks, badass with gold around his waist. And now they're not really doing much with him. I know he's getting older and he's, having his son follow in his footsteps, Dominic, but...
Yeah, but the crazy thing about Rey still wrestling to this day is that despite how much older he's become, it's unbelievable how great he still is. I mean, I think he's almost 50, and he has not skipped a beat at all. And it's you would think that as he's gotten older he would like slow down a little bit, but no, like I'm trying to remember, it was an episode of SmackDown in, I want to say, 2018, and it's on YouTube. Well, not the full match, but like only a clip of it. But there was this one point where Rey Mysterio and The Miz had this match on SmackDown, and it was really, really good. It was insanely good. Those two tore the house down. And again, this proves my point of how Rey is always one of those guys where you can put him in a match with almost anybody, and he'll always deliver. And yeah, it's like, and I mean, who could forget in, I think it was 2019, the matches that Rey was having on SmackDown against Andrade. All of those matches were insane. Were just insane.
Yeah.
And again, like, keep in mind, Rey is almost 50. Rey is almost 50.
Yeah,
And here he is. Here he is. He's been
47.
wrestling. Here he is. He's still been wrestling for several decades. And he's having these like top tier matches against people like Andrade. And Andrade is amazing. And yeah, like Rey, like no matter how old he is, he's just always going to be one of the greatest to ever do it.
Rey Mysterio will go down as one of my childhood favorites, and he's one of my favorites of all time.
He's one of the best.
I personally grew up with the guy, and I've always loved him to this very day. Like Rey Mysterio, you know, his matches are great. Like him winning the world title back in 2006 from Kurt Angle, and him, you know, winning again, having matches against Jericho back in 2009. But
I mean, yeah, his match against Eddie at WrestleMania 20, I believe it was, right?
The dude's always put on.
Was it Mania 20?
21.
No, Mania. Thank you, yeah, because Mania 20 was Eddie versus Kurt.
Put on several decades, like, you know, at Mania or at any pay-per-view, he puts on a stellar match. But I feel like this match could have been better. With him and Cody, it could have been better. That's just my opinion.
I think that, because I remember this match, being like relatively long. I think that if you realistically give Rey and Cody like 20 minutes to just do what they do, like they would have torn the house down, I think. But I remember this match being like relatively short, which is a shame. But yeah, anyway, moving on. We've kind of been fucking going on and on about this one. Again, we're on match number one out of the only 3 good matches on this fucking show.
Okay.
And I'm very excited for the next one too.
All right.
All right, so what is the next match?
All right, the next match was probably the worst match on the card, and that was Big Show, Kane, Santino, and Kofi Kingston defeated Ezekiel Jackson, Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, and Heath Slater, known as also formerly known as the Tour. All I'm going to say is the match sucked, squash match, and Vladimir Kozlov was originally going to be in that match, but he got attacked at Access.
I remember hearing about that, yeah.
But
wait, he got
How
attacked
did that
at
happen?
Access?
He got attacked at Access.
How did he get attacked at Access, bro?
I don't know. But as of that match, all I know is the match sucked, and you know that literally started to bury the core, which the core sucked anyway. So, I mean, I knew the core would never work. In my opinion. It all started because those 4 guys beat Big Show in a handicap match. So
yeah.
Evan, you want to go?
Sure, yeah. So here's what makes me sad about this match. Not only did it kind of just make no sense, I mean, there's that right off the bat. And I mean, having a match at WrestleMania that has no build and no story to it, like why waste your time doing that anyway? But the thing is, you look at the people who are in this match. Kofi, genuinely amazing. The Big Show, genuinely amazing. Justin Gabriel, talk about one of the most underappreciated wrestlers probably ever.
Rated.
Yeah, Justin Gabriel is amazing. And then you look at people like Ezekiel Jackson, in my opinion, was also really mistreated and underappreciated. I mean, he wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that like Ezekiel could have been like a main event guy, but I mean, it's funny, on my Instagram story, I was telling somebody to give me their wrestling hot takes. And somebody was like, "Oh, who is better, Ryback?" Or I think it was like, "Who's better, Ryback or Ezekiel Jackson?" And my exact response was Ezekiel, because you go back and you watch his matches, and he could genuinely fucking wrestle and put on a good match with almost anybody. So, you know, they're like this entire match, and then there's Santino, which, I mean, if you want somebody with genuine technical wrestling ability, then you're not going to find that in Santino. But I mean, yeah, like this match just didn't make sense. And like, again, if you're gonna do why do something that doesn't fucking make sense at the biggest show of the year? It just doesn't add up at all, and it was a waste of time and a waste of talent, and it's just really unfortunate. But yeah,
Okay.
I again, Justin Gabriel, one of the most underappreciated wrestlers probably ever. But yeah, moving on. That's all I have to say.
Josh.
Yeah, I really want to get into this because I grew up with a lot of these underused talent that are now doing better things in other companies. Like, for example, Justin Gabriel. Dude, that was out of the season 1 NXT rookies. The dude was literally my favorite out of every single one of them, despite Daniel Bryan too. Justin Gabriel was my favorite. Like, as a kid, I loved him, like, literally, and WWE mistreated him so bad. I mean, he was a tag team champion. At least he won some gold. Mainly the only gold he ever had, but honestly,
Yeah, and I mean, for the record, I know that no one really cares about main event, but like there was on main event specifically way back, Justin Gabriel was always having these really good matches against people like Tyson Kidd on like main event, and like those two would always have like really good chemistry and yeah.
And now, like, I got a chance back in 2017 to meet him now because he's known as the Daredevil, PJ Black.
PJ Black, yeah.
I think he was in Lucha at the time, Lucha Underground, if that's even still a promotion. I don't think
no,
it
it's
is.
not. But I know he was there for a while, and I don't know where he is now. I think he's in Ring of Honor.
Like when he was so unrecognizable, I literally recognized him by face, and literally the dude literally could still wrestle these badass matches. And then you have guys like Santino, great comedy character, definitely great in the ring. Definitely, Kane. You gotta love Kane. Big Show. After a while, wow. And when his theme song hit, but the core was so mistreated. I felt like nowadays, thinking about the core, they were almost like the second version of the Nexus,
which failed.
Yeah, but instead the Nexus went somewhere. But instead of getting buried at SummerSlam back in 2010. So
and by the way, I'm sorry, this is just a really quick comment because I was watching a Parts Fun Known video today, and they talked about the Nexus thing. Honestly, like literally the only good thing that could have come out of the Cena versus the Nexus thing is that they could have, out of that whole group, the one person that they could have and should have built up as a top star from that is Wade Barrett, and they chose not to. They chose not to, and it's like why?
Wade Barrett was one of those guys that you literally could have.
He had the potential, and they chose not to.
I mean, he was the Intercontinental Champion, but you literally didn't build him up as a main event star where he could have been WWE Champion. You put him in WWE Championship matches against top guys, but you didn't build him up the correct way. But honestly, that was kind of a flop of a match. Putting Big Show, Kane, and Santino, that's like an interesting combo, to be honest. But if I could rewrite stuff, 20 years later, the core would have been, one of a good faction for me because I would have booked them the right way. If I booked WWE, I would book these factions that flopped the good way. I mean, the new Nexus, when CM Punk took over, it didn't really feel the same vibe, but, this match sucked. Moving on.
Let's see, Jaden.
I don't care for this match. Next person.
AJ. Rant.
Fuck this.
It was 1 minute and 32 seconds.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I forgot to mention. Yeah, it's like you usually think of a tag match as being long, and this one was only 1 minute and 30 seconds. That also, or 1 minute and 32 seconds. Just like, again, like it's like why do it if there's no time and if it doesn't make sense? It's like it's ridiculous. But yeah, sorry, moving on.
AJ Rant.
Okay, fuck this match, bro. Like 1 minute of tag team action, which sucked. The core was very underutilized and underrated group. It could have been something. Like between all 4 men. Ezekiel Jackson's the Intercontinental Champion. Heath and Gabriel's the Tag Team Champions. And Wade Barrett as the World Champion. Could have been the best faction, but they're going to be fucked up. Because they didn't know what to do. And they just buried him right away. And I think the match finished when the Big Show, boom, knocked out one of the members. For the 1, 2, 3. Oh, God. I just hated this match. Fuck you. Move
Jason.
I'll pass.
As I'm gonna get my camera up here. The next match we've got going on here is probably the only match I really enjoyed throughout the entire show, which this match absolutely killed it in my opinion. It was Randy Orton defeating CM Punk, where the Nexus was banned at ringside. All honest, I think that match was actually pretty good because, them two, it all started because of, Punk and the Nexus invading against Orton's championship opportunity against The Miz at the Rumble, which Punk helped Miz win the match. And, at Elimination Chamber, you had Randy Orton try to eliminate CM Punk, but that anonymous general manager said, "Oh, CM Punk's still in the match." And then you go on to WrestleMania. Randy Orton breaks every member's neck of the Nexus, which is Mason Ryan, Michael McGillicuddy.
The greatest wrestler of all time, Husky Harris. How can we forget?
And literally then, but I'm gonna tell you, the match at Mania was pretty damn good in my opinion. I know Orton's knee wasn't in the best, in the best performance, but definitely I did like the one reversal. Punk jumping on the top rope and Orton RKO's him up in the air. I think that was one of the greatest RKO's in RKO history. So I think that was definitely one of Orton's most famous RKO's he's ever given, in my opinion. I think that was absolutely a great match, but in my opinion, I think CM Punk was more of the guy to win the Royal Rumble match that year if it wasn't for him entering number one. But I think CM Punk was more the guy to main event WrestleMania that year because Punk had so many accomplishments, becoming World Heavyweight Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, ECW Champion. Like, I think this would have been the year for CM Punk to main event WrestleMania. And I think Punk versus Cena would have been a good main event. Like, Punk to win the Rumble, and then Cena scrap the title off Miz at the Chamber, so that way we didn't have to worry about it at Money in the Bank. Just my personal opinion. Evan, since CM Punk is in your top 5 favorite wrestlers, how about you go?
Yeah, so we are now on match number 2 for one of the only 3 good matches on the entire show. Yeah, this match is great. And again, this is another one of those instances where, Randy is another guy who's always kind of been very dependable on giving a good performance pretty much no matter what. And yeah, this match is very, very good. And I personally love it. It's definitely one of the best matches that I've ever seen. And I 100% agree with what you said, Wyatt, that yeah, this easily could have and should have been a year where Punk main eventing the show would have probably been the most suitable option to go with. But yeah, this match is just great. I mean, what I love the most about Randy is that he always has the best chemistry with wrestlers who you would not expect him to. A prime example of this is it was Hell in a Cell 2019 against Ali, was it?
Yeah, Orton and Ali.
Yeah, that match is really good. That match is really, for some reason, Randy always just kills it with high flyers. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not calling Punk a high flyer. Punk is more of a technical wrestler. But these two very different styles, but they definitely merged very well together. And yeah, these two absolutely just delivered in this match. And it's one of my favorite WrestleMania matches ever. And again, like I said, I know this show is really bad, but this match again is definitely a top tier saving grace for the disaster of this entire show. But yeah, again, really, really good match. And if you somehow, some way haven't seen it, absolutely go back and watch it because it's definitely worth your time. It's really good. So that's all I have to say.
Match I really enjoyed. So,
Mm-hmm.
Jaden, you want to go?
I'm pretty sure this is the only few good matches on the card. Two talents I have much respect for, Randy Orton and CM Punk.
Okay.
Jason?
One of the best matches on the card, and it's something I'll go back to.
AJ.
You're muted, AJ.
This was a great match. from this WrestleMania because it was like probably one of the only saving grace from this show, and that ending with Punk getting RKO'd by Randy was the greatest move I ever seen someone receiving an RKO. Like, it's so good, and it ended it like that. It was perfect, and I really love this match, and I think I could go back into it if I wanted to.
Okay. All right, Joshua.
Yes. Evan magically disappeared. Okay, now.
John
But-
Cena,
I'm still here.
Oh.
America.
I was just getting a drink.
Anyway, this was one of my favorite matches. Mainly my favorite of the Mania. Like, despite Edge and Del Rio being one of my favorites, this was my number one favorite match. Honestly, Randy got banged up in the knee the Raw before Mania, so that kind of led into a big impact of the match. Basically, you know, Orton's knee's injured, it's all taped up. Is he going to be able to compete? Are they going to have to pick someone else? Who knows? Orton was good to go. Motherfucker, bro. That match was insane. Watching it 20 years later now, bro, holy shit. Like, me
You
and
mean 10. You mean 10 years, not 20.
I'm saying years of,
Hasn't
like,
been that long.
No, like, not 20 years, like, in general. I'm saying, like, 20 years that, like, I've been around.
Okay.
So, like, it makes sense. I haven't been, like, saying it like that, but it's 10 years, yeah. But,
Yeah.
honestly, that RKO spot where Punk went on the top rope,
Went for the springboard clothesline. Yeah.
dude, I never seen a wrestler who got banged up the night before and do a fucking move like that. Holy shit. Like, I never seen that in my life. But, dude, that was probably one of my favorite matches of the night. Honestly. It was a banger. It was so good. I mean, I give CM Punk credit for that match. Like, you know, I give him a lot of credit for stepping up to a guy like Randy. You know?
The cult
All
of
right, next
person.
up is a match that I really am scared to review, which was
Oh,
probably
here we go.
Billy
boy.
match on the card yet. Michael Cole defeated Jaden King Lawler by decision.
Here we go. Here we go.
This match.
Sorry. All I'm gonna say is, of course, there had to be the stupid anonymous general manager who was really fucking annoying. You know, really, you want to disqualify Jerry the King Lawler? Like, that is not a WrestleMania moment. Jerry the King Lawler could have officially won that match, which literally you have Stone Cold as the special guest referee. This was probably one of the most dumbest things I've ever seen in Mania history. Which, you know, all honest, I kind of wish, you know, that match never even existed. Like, look at, like, you're gonna disqualify Michael Cole over the ref attack. Not Michael Cole. Jerry the King Lawler over the ref technique. Look at freaking Jack Swagger, what he's done outside the ring. Like, you know, I mean, with that though, I kind of, you know, I mean, I know I've really, because this is probably one of the reasons why this Mania was bad. But, you know, you did have Michael Cole in that little pod, in that little, you know, plastic, that little pod area that you put him in and have his little area on commentary, which was very forgettable. But, you know, Michael Cole as a heel commentator, Michael Cole doing his, like, Michael Cole and that role having heel commentator, at least, I know he was an asshole and all, but at least he was doing his job. But as of that, I mean, all honest, I think it was just very ridiculous, and I think I'm gonna let Jaden go.
I don't care. Next person.
Jason.
As much as I appreciate both Cole and Jerry the King Lawler, I hated this.
Okay. Josh.
Oh my fucking god, where do I fucking begin? You know, as a kid, I'm gonna say this again and again and over again. You enjoy things that you don't even remember, having opinions on. But as you get older, your opinions change. And this is something that changed on me. I watched it when I was a kid back then in 2011. I kind of laughed at it at the time. I thought it was funny, stupid, in terms of like stupid comedy shit. But watching it now, it was the most dumbest shit. But like, there were some funny moments in that feud, especially when they were both feuding, Lawler and Cole. I just love when John Cena beat the shit out of Michael Cole.
That was the following.
Literally poured JR's barbecue sauce all over Michael Cole. Literally stripped him of his fucking clothes. I just thought that was the most classic thing. Class act by John Cena. I mean, John's the man. You can't deny that. But this match was so fucking stupid. You literally have Michael Cole wearing fucking wrestling gear like a fucking high school wrestler. Headgear, fucking tank top, and fucking short ass knee pads and fucking boots. Yet Jerry Lawler, who's an actual fucking wrestler, literally can still do his thing on the top rope. And literally, I thought the way it should have been was Jerry Lawler beats Michael Cole.
Yeah, because that's how you reach. That's a WrestleMania moment.
Exactly.
But the following
And then Michael
year,
Cole,
a year later, they had a match on Raw, Jerry versus Michael, and the match was like 20 seconds.
That's right.
The following year, Evan, you want to go?
I mean, this is kind of one of those matches that doesn't even need to be talked about. I'm just all I have to say about it is that it just shouldn't have happened, especially not on WrestleMania. So yeah, that's all I have to say. It's just like why. I will. No, like you can't even really find anything like positive to say about this match. I was gonna try, but like, yeah, I mean, it's fucking hard. But yeah, definitely this match just shouldn't have happened, and that's it.
Yeah, agreed.
AJ, ready?
Brent AJ.
This match. This was the worst match of the night, dude.
Yeah.
Worst match of the night. And this
True.
was when Michael Cole was wearing that high school wrestling gear, which I didn't like. Jared Lawler, of course, wearing his gear. Still going at it today. He's a goat. Jerry King Lawler is a great wrestler, but Michael Cole isn't because he's not. He never wrestled before during this time, and I just honestly I don't care about this match. I didn't care about this rivalry. This rivalry was dumb. Anyways, it was just building for comedy shit. And they had fucking JR and John Cena and Jack Swagger involved. Made it worse. And also Stone Cold was the special guest referee. Yeah, Stone Cold was the referee at the time. So yeah, and then like Stone Cold pretty much started Michael Cole, which caused a disqualification, which had Michael Cole win because Jerry King Lawler got disqualified. That was fucking bullshit. Should have been Jerry King Lawler for the clean win. Fuck this match.
All right, next match is actually, the match was like a half hour long, even though then people usually have a long ass match, and that is the Undertaker going 19-0, defeating Triple H in a no holds barred match.
I would like to start this one off.
Then I'll let you go first, but here's my hot take.
Okay.
The only reason I find that they did this match was because of Shawn Michaels retiring. Because, you had this match for the second time ever, because, you did it 10 years before at WrestleMania 17. But with that, though, I mean, I would have preferred Triple H to go with I just kind of thought it funny because of Triple H. I'm used to having Triple H would be at a WrestleMania wrestling like a younger talent at the time because, the year before he fought Sheamus and that. But with that, Triple H was leaning towards his part-time, but I think the match was really good because, Undertaker threw Triple H on the hard ground. They broke Michael Cole's pod. You know, a lot of emotions were taken into this match. But you know, I think it's just very rare. You know, at the end of it, really spoke for itself because you know Triple H had the sledgehammer and Undertaker literally put him in the Hell's Gate. Um, and Triple H, of course, tapped out of it, which I thought Triple H would have at least passed out. But I think Undertaker was actually the guy because I didn't think the streak would be broken at that time. But I mean, that shows that this Mania was definitely the build-up of the next Mania because you had them two fight again, but in Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels as the referee, which I think it told it with, you know, between Taker versus Michaels at Mania 26, Taker versus Triple H at Mania 27, and then you have them fight inside the cell with Michaels as the referee, which actually was probably probably the best Hell in a Cell match of all time. One of the best Hell in a Cell matches of all time. But as of that, I think that's pretty much it. But all I'm gonna say about that, Triple H versus Undertaker's last match should have been at WrestleMania 28 because it was end of an era. But of course, you had to do it freaking down in Australia, which I don't know why. But Evan, you can go first, man.
All right, so we are now on match number 3 of the only good matches on this entire show. So here's the thing. Here's a little unknown, well, maybe an unknown fact about this match, and this is allegedly 100% true. This initially was going to be Undertaker versus Sting. Sting was allegedly approached by WWE. Allegedly, they got in touch with him and said, "Hey, do you want to have a match against Undertaker at WrestleMania?" And he said no because he was very happy with being in TNA. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was the same time that he was doing his Joker Sting gimmick. So I don't know how or why he was happier because we all know how well the Joker Sting gimmick went over.
Yeah.
You know, as in it didn't. It was horrible. But nonetheless, despite the fact that we didn't get one of the biggest dream matches in all of wrestling, man, yeah, this match is one of the best ever that I've ever seen. I've literally watched this match like a million times, and it just never gets old. I mean, everything about it, they told an extremely compelling story. It was just this great, you know, I mean, you had Undertaker, who was more or less kind of a heel, and he was like, "Oh, fuck you, Triple H, I defeated your friend and retired him, haha," you know. And then Triple H was this valiant babyface and was like, "No, you know what? I love my friend dearly. I'm gonna kick your ass because you're retired," and all of that jazz. And it played so well, and the finish is like amazing. Like, straight out of a fucking movie. Of how I love the part, you know, where Triple H is like in the Hell's Gate and he's like passing out, and like the last thing he does is like gives him the bird before he like passes out and shit. And yeah, just this whole match is great. Actually, I remember hearing that. So not only did Undertaker suffer a genuine heart attack at the end of the match, is why he collapses. But I think I had heard somewhere that the part where Taker runs at Triple H and then he spinebusters him like from the ring steps to the announce table. I remember hearing that Triple H like tore his ACL or something in his knee. He tore something in his knee when he did that, or tore his quad. I think it was his quad. So that's an interesting thing too. I think I heard that somewhere. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, nonetheless, yeah, this is one of the best matches of either men's career. Like it's really good. So yeah, I don't have much else to say about it other than yeah, it's like that. I mean, after that, it's all downhill from here for this WrestleMania because this is the highest it's gonna get. But yeah, great match, one of the best ever, and that's it.
AJ.
I think this was a great match from both men, and they really killed it. But I feel like next year's WrestleMania or next year, like during the time, I feel the next WrestleMania during that time was better because they really like went at it at the next WrestleMania during that time. But this was a good like preview to that matchup, Mania 28. So this was a good match, and I really enjoyed it.
All right, Josh.
Yeah. So I I actually did not know, Evan, that Undertaker had a heart attack or whatever happened.
Yeah, if my memory serves me, that's why he collapses at the end of the match, is because he fucking has a heart attack or some shit. That's something that I heard a lot about.
Yeah,
But yeah.
honestly, this was did they fight at Mania 28? I can't remember.
28, yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. But here's the thing, though. They couldn't really say this was the last match between the two. I thought the matches Undertaker and Shawn had were amazing. Like WrestleMania 25 but WrestleMania 25, honestly, going back a few years.
Listen, all that you need to know about how good the
Yeah.
Mania 25 match between Taker and Shawn is that match has literally been regarded by many people as not even just one of. That match has been regarded as the best wrestling match ever. So that tells you all you need to know.
I love the concept with that match. Shawn Michaels coming out in a white robe and hat as the Undertaker
from the heavens, and then Taker rises from hell and all black. Yeah,
but honestly,
it's really cool.
Here's where the plot twists. So Shawn Michaels retires. He's done with in-ring wrestling after 26 because he lost that match. So who else in order is gonna fight the Undertaker and put on another stellar classic feud? That answer being Triple H, because one, they need to say, oh, him and Shawn, they've been friends, a long time, so we're gonna have them fight and whatnot. And then who else they were gonna go with? It was the question. So Triple H was an obvious answer. So and I remember watching a Monday Night Raw episode in 2011 leading up to that match, and basically talking about, he's like, oh, Shawn is retired. And Shawn is done with in-ring competition. So Undertaker, you're gonna have to face me, or some shit that Triple H said. And this is when we knew Triple H as Triple H, like long hair, the famous entrance with Lemmy Kilmister's amazing fucking voice, and that nowadays Triple H is retired and he's shaved his head, and he's a lot has changed over the years with him, but. This was one of my favorite matches by far, as well as the last match we talked about. With Orton and CM Punk. But they could have not said the end of an era match, because it really wasn't the last match between Taker and Triple H at that time. Basically, WrestleMania 28 was. So got me a little bit. I was like, it's not really the last match. If you're calling it an end of an era, you're going to end it off at WrestleMania 27. You're not going to do another match at 28, like doing the same shit. But still, fire match. I felt like it was a long match, but what a fucking classic.
Okay.
Baby.
All right. Let's go with Jaden.
If he's
Wow, one of the few matches that was actually good on this card while we're discussing about it at the moment. And I didn't know about WWE approaching Sting being at that WrestleMania at that time. I watched a bit of TNA myself. I remember him doing the Joker gimmick, which I like, which is my opinion. I didn't know about Undertaker having a heart attack. Talk about it now. Dang, dude could have been dead, but I'm glad he's not.
Yeah. Like I said, if my memory serves me right, they had approached Sting and they were like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And he was like, "Nope, I'm good," which is a shame, but yeah.
But in 2015.
So for this match, what a classic. This is one of the best matches in that year's Mania. I enjoyed it, and these two were in their prime that time. You know what? One of the three best matches on this card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the next match is Probably another bad one because the match took as long as it took for Stone Cold to beat Jake the Snake at the King of the Ring tournament.
I actually like the next match.
All right. John Morrison, Trish
Oh
Stratus, and
no.
Snooki defeated Dolph Ziggler, Michelle McCool, and Layla.
I would love to go first on this one.
Okay, for my take on this one, all honest, who remembers when Snooki made an appearance there?
I do.
I remember.
I do.
As much it was hard for me to remember this match, it was probably one of the most underrated WrestleMania appearances of all time for celebrities. But I just, of course the celebrities have to win, when it comes to like the WrestleMania match and whatever. But it really didn't make the Mania better, even when you have a legend like Trish Stratus make an appearance or, a celebrity make an appearance. But it really was prop. All I'm gonna say, I really don't have much to explain here. Of course, it was like 3 minutes and 16 seconds, as I said earlier. But and of course, and that is all I'm gonna say here. But Josh, you can go.
Yes. As bad as it was, and as much as I, watched it later, I like Jersey Shore. I thought, I watched it 10 years ago when it aired, like the original show. But watching it now, they completely changed their lives around and stuff like that. But honestly, I will say this. This is something, actually, if you guys did not know this, but, as years later, speaking of Jersey Shore, because, we're talking about Snooki here, Snooki has, 3 adorable kids, and one of her sons, I think it's the oldest one, is a big wrestling fan, and so is she. She is a she is a big fan. I don't say big fan. I guess she is. He's a fan of wrestling as well. Her son watches it, and it's crazy. Her JWoww's fiance is actually a wrestler competing on AEW Dark, so he's he's in that stage now. I'm hoping he gets big. So they have connections. So it's not like they don't know shit about wrestling. It's just the fact that that Snooki was there. They're like, because when back in the day, I used to love when Raw would bring on guest hosts, and they would have, once they had Snoop Dogg, they had Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks basketball team. They had Seth fucking Green, the guy from Family Guy, for crying out loud. They had a bunch of cool guests. Even Ozzy Osbourne.
Even Pee-wee Herman.
And
Hell, Shaq was on there once.
Shaq too. And, as bad as it was, Snooki was really cool. She doesn't have experience, but I feel like why put a celebrity in a match and then, they're going to get seriously hurt. They're going to get injured. I was thinking the same, when Bad Bunny had his match at WrestleMania last year against The Miz and John Morrison with Damian Priest. I'm like, Bad Bunny, he has no wrestling experience. He's a Latin artist, rapper, and all that. But the dude killed it. I wouldn't say Snooki killed it, but she was okay. She did a moonsault on Michelle McCool. She pinned Michelle McCool, which I think made her look bad. It's the same with The Miz. But they always give the celebrity that moment. But, everyone's, that talked about the show, the original show 10 years later of Jersey Shore. They're like, oh, they're just the same assholes from back then. They don't turn their lives around, these reality jokes, these pieces of shits and whatever. Dude, if you watch that fucking show, yes, producers add drama. But these, the situation, Snooki, and every one of those cast members, they have turned their lives around completely since having kids and moving on to the next stage in life. Yes, they still may do the same shit they do in their 20s, but lesson learned, people. They change their lives around. So, as bad as it was to see, Michelle McCool get pulled over by a fucking celebrity known as Snooki, it was still cool to see Snooki have like that moment. You know, she even won a Slammy for that too.
Mm.
Do you want a
Oh,
Slammy
she
award?
did.
I actually was looking her up on Wikipedia, and she won a Slammy award for A-lister. And you know, I hope her life is doing good right now, being a mom of 3 children, and keep supporting wrestling. And the match was as bad as it was still cool to see Snooki.
Okay. AJ.
Oh my god. Okay, Josh, I'm sorry, but I don't think this match was that good. I don't know, man. And where the hell did...
I
Okay,
respect that, AJ.
first of all, where the hell did Trish Stratus come from? Second of all, why would you have
Yeah,
a
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, and second of all, why the hell are we doing celebrity matches even though Snooki wasn't the best in the ring? Especially going against talents like Ziggler, McCool, and Layla. And also John Morrison in there, who absolutely deserved it better in both of his runs. I just don't give a fuck about this match. Fuck this match. And
Hey, whoa now.
And I just didn't really care about it, to be honest, because not that entertaining. It's just this match sucks. I'm sorry, Snooki. I'm sorry to offend any of Jersey Shores or Snooki fans. I'm not really a fan of her in the ring.
And I respect that. It's your opinion. I respect it.
And to be honest, I don't care about this match. This was boring.
Okay.
Respected.
Jason.
I'll pass on this match. I didn't really care for it.
Jaden.
I mean, to be honest, I hope you guys didn't have no high expectations whenever a celebrity does have a match in WWE. I'm pretty sure you guys had felt the same way when Bad Bunny came out, but look how that turned out.
Okay.
True.
Evan.
Yeah, Bad Bunny was impressive.
Yeah, so I also
And
don't
I
really
believe
have a
the
lot.
only celebrity that actually has fighting experience is Mayweather, and I don't count that. Big Show would destroy him in real life. Just saying. Even right now.
Well, I mean, Floyd did legitimately break Big Show's nose, but yeah, I see your point.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah. So, where was I going with this? All right. So I also really don't have a lot to say about this match other than just, yeah, it was bad. That's no surprise. I mean, it's like a short little just simple kind of match, but it's definitely not worth going back to and watching in the slightest, I wouldn't say. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I'm not gonna go into detail on fucking this one.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the main event of the evening.
Dear Lord, praise us all.
All right, AJ, get ready and do. All right, The Miz defeated John Cena to retain the WWE Championship.
Boo.
Okay, all honest, The Miz was not ready to main event WrestleMania at that time. Today, I'm sure he could. But all I'm going to say now is this match really did not feel the vibe to main event WrestleMania. I mean, Cena's entrance was very bland and stale. Because, you had this whole choir come out and sing, and literally Cena acted like he never even acknowledged that choir who was literally singing for him. But, with that though, I think the match was very stale and pretty solid, but all I'm gonna say is knowing how bad this main event was and literally the ending to it, because it showed it was building the next Mania, which no Mania should be building up the next Mania. All honest, I think because with the rock bottoming John Cena and helping the Miz retain his WWE title was a huge upset. You know, and of course, The Rock did attack Miz after the match, but, you know, that showed that Rock and Cena were going to battle at Mania the next year. And it really disappoints me what they would have someone who isn't ready to main event WrestleMania, main event and win. I love and respect Miz and all, but it was not Miz's time to main event Mania. I still wish I could fix the past and make it Punk versus Cena as the main event. Not gonna lie. But, all honest though, very disappointing WrestleMania. Very disappointing main event. And that's all I'm gonna say. Josh.
Yeah, as much as a fan of everybody, there's some people that, they like John Cena. They love the
Cena
guy.
versus The Miz multiple times, and you have it main event
Exactly, but
WrestleMania.
I felt like we've seen John Cena in WrestleMania a lot, but we've seen him fight The Miz more than once. Like, John Cena's fought the same superstars almost every time. You could have picked anybody but The Miz as the champion, but I was happy for Miz because when a superstar wins their first title, it's that emotional moment, and it's the first championship they won of their career, like the first big title they ever win. And The Miz, this was his first WWE title, and you're a kid and you dream, oh, one day I'm going to be a WWE champion. Look at Edge. Edge wrote in his exact yearbook when he graduated high school, my goal is to win a WWE championship belt, and he did just that. And if you could just, say you're going to do something and you one day want to accomplish it, you're going to do it. And I know it just for a fact. And you look at The Miz, and The Miz did just that. But the main event was a flop 20 years later. And, 10 years later, but fucking goddamn it.
Which,
anyway,
Miz
it was a good
carrying Raw at that time. Like, Miz was a great heel at that time because I knew back at the time I couldn't stand him, but if it was me today going back at the time, I would have absolutely loved him because I think his mic work was well, but, I think the Miz was championship material at the time, but main eventing WrestleMania, not so much. But, Josh, is that all you have to say?
Yep, that's all
Alright.
from me. It was a flop 10 years later.
And whose name did you call? Me?
Yeah.
I think this match is a flop.
Even though The Rock gave The Miz a people's elbow at the end of the night, it was still a disappointing ending.
I don't really care about this match, but I enjoy both Cena and Miz, at least.
Alright, Jaden?
Oh, why John Cena didn't win questions me. Confuses me. Like, wait.
Is that all you have to say?
Yeah.
Alright, Evan.
Alright, so yeah, as far as WrestleMania main events, this definitely is not regarded as one of the better ones, but I actually have a lot of interesting thoughts, I think, at least, on this match. I'm going to start off with probably the only positive, and if you go back and you watch this WrestleMania, you cannot tell me that the hype package for this match isn't awesome. Like, I don't know what it is, but man, the video package for this match is so good. I believe the song they chose to play over it was
Gritting in the Stars.
No, it wasn't that. The song was it was "Hate Me Now" by Nas, I believe.
Which for what pay-per-view?
This was for WrestleMania for this match. The video package for this match that plays before the match, the kind of like, you know what a video package is, yeah. Like it. The video package for this match. Yeah, it's really
song
good.
Before.
Yeah. The video package for this match is so good. But moving on to the match itself, here's what I think is really upsetting. John Cena is amazing, and The Miz is amazing. And realistically, you take those two guys, and you put them in a match against each other, and you think, okay, yeah, like they can do some cool stuff, but unfortunately, just the way they went about it, and also really did not help that the Miz got a very bad concussion in the match.
Yep, I
Um,
remember that too.
Yeah, where he was standing on top of, I believe it was Cena who was standing on top of the ring barricade, and then Miz tackles him onto the concrete, and he fucking slams his head on the floor, and he's knocked out. That definitely wasn't very good. And yeah, I really don't know. Again, this is one of those things where I don't have a lot to say about it, other than pretty much everybody knows that it was definitely not one of the best decisions to make. And yeah, I mean, that's really just like as simple as it gets. I don't really have much else to say. I mean, thankfully, Cena and Miz definitely both like bounced back from this. They definitely went on to do great things after this, which is on the bright side. Actually, as speaking of the Miz, one of my favorite matches of his isn't. Actually, I'll name two that just came to my mind. Backlash, I believe it was, 2017 or 2016. Between him and Ziggler for the IC title, like one of the best matches ever. And
Yeah.
also, Extreme Rules 2016, that fatal four-way match for the IC title between Miz, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Really, really, really good match. One of the best that I've ever seen. So,
One of the best.
so yeah, like the Miz again. That there's definitely like concrete evidence that the Miz can definitely put on a great show, with pretty much anybody. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say other than just, yeah, like this match definitely was not one of the better ones. It was definitely kind of rough. But yeah, that's it.
AJ, it's your
Go
turn.
ahead.
Okay, first of all, this match really flopped. I did not like this match one bit. I don't think Miz was absolutely ready for this moment yet, because I feel like his first gimmick that he did at the time was a little bit stale. Because I mean, I understand this was Miz's year on his prime, but I understand this was his prime, but I just don't feel like that Miz was absolutely ready for this yet. Like, you could have given him another year or two for this moment, but anyways, by the way, this match really flopped. I did not like this one bit. And then the ending of came out and then build up the next year for me, which I don't like. Why would you build up a WrestleMania and then you're just gonna build it up? And then why do you have to do the show WrestleMania when you're gonna build up the next WrestleMania? Like, what's the point of doing this WrestleMania if you're gonna build up this WrestleMania? Wait, the next WrestleMania. That makes no sense. But today, but now, this match is a real flop. I do not like it.
All right, let's get down to the ratings. I'm gonna rate it a 3. And then
Oh, we're rating the entire WrestleMania show.
we're gonna do the
Yep.
ratings.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is kind of rough. So, again, yeah, like I said, there's only those three like great matches on this entire card. If I had to rate it like it's a star rating out of 5 stars, right?
No, 1
No,
out of 10.
out of 10.
Oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, gotcha. I would give this. Man. Like, okay. I'm sorry. I'm having so much trouble doing this. I think that in all fairness, I'm going to give it like a 2.5 out of 10, maybe. Again, Taker and Triple H, and then Punk and Randy, and Cody and Ray are 3 great matches. But as far as the entire show is concerned, I don't think that those matches make the entire show better. So I mean, well, I don't. I mean, as in like they make the show like a little bit easier to watch and get through. But yeah, the entire show is mainly a train wreck except for those 3 matches. So yeah, all I really have to say is just like, yeah, it's like a 2.5, I guess.
Okay. AJ.
I'm giving the show. Fucking 4.
Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, where do I start? Man. Watching it as a kid, I rated it, honestly, I would say an 8. But, I enjoyed it as a kid. But now, I changed that. I would give it, not a 2. I'm too nice. I'll give it a 3. 3.5.
Okay. Jaden.
4.
Jason.
4.
Okay. I'm gonna say thank you for watching this episode. Jason, take cover.
All right. Me?
Yeah. I got
All right. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Crash and Burn, where we reviewed Mania 27. We hope you all enjoyed. And yeah, comment below what y'all thought of this WrestleMania. You can catch me, Evan, pretty much all of us on the Moshcast.
Damn right.
And you can also check out Cinematic Analysis. We can catch Ricky catches there, but maybe Evan will make an appearance there in the future.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Hopefully sooner
Yeah.
than later, yeah.
I hope sooner or later. Yeah, it's great to have you on, even if it's for a one-off appearance. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. Yeah, Josh, go right ahead.
Alrighty, cool. So thank you guys for watching this episode of the fastest rising podcast in pro wrestling today. And I said today because I mean it seriously. The Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed our long as fuck.
It wasn't that long. It wasn't that long.
It's midnight, bro. I'm just making a joke. Calm down. Calm down, citizen.
All right, keep going.
Anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed our long review, sarcastically, of WrestleMania 27. Me saying the same shit again and again. I honestly, I agree with myself a lot on this, but it was honestly a bad WrestleMania watching it later in the year.
You had a lot to say.
Yeah, man. When it comes to this, when I grew up on something, and if I watch it, it comes to this. So, I see that AJ's already asleep, so good night. I'm just kidding. But anyways, guys, check us out on social media. Follow everybody on this podcast on their socials down below. Definitely check out our TikTok for both podcasts. Cinematic Analysis 1 will be coming hopefully in the near future. Subscribe to both 3 podcasts. And also stay tuned for our next episode.
What?
All 3. I'm freaking losing it. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. And yeah, good night.
AJ, go right ahead since you're falling asleep.
Thank you guys for watching another episode of the fastest rising podcast about professional fucking wrestling. The
Crash and fucking Burn Wrestling Podcast.
And I hope you guys enjoy this episode where we review WrestleMania 27, which, in my opinion, was just a complete flop. Because the main event and Mexico and Jerry Lawler are the main reasons why. And yeah, I just don't care about this WrestleMania. It's just pretty much build up to the next WrestleMania, which made no sense and why. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy this review, and see you guys next time. The last word is out.
Jaden.
Well, you can find my Instagram and YouTube channel in the description below.
Down below.
Down below. All right, Evan, you close us out, buddy.
Close it out, man.
All right. Yeah, it was very nice to be back. Sorry that I wasn't as, I guess, jokey as I used to be. I mean, to be completely honest, it has been over a year, and a lot of things have happened in my life. And I haven't lost my sense of humor, but I definitely have changed a lot in comparison to how I used to be back then. So, and all that. I would definitely say that I've, matured and stuff. But yeah, it was nice to be back. It was nice to review this WrestleMania. Hopefully, again, sooner than later, I'll be able to review more wrestling shows and stuff like that. And other than that, all I have to say, other than that, all I have to say is you can follow me on Instagram at Ronald_Van_Donald. I also have a Twitter. I'm not very active on there, but I do have it. I sometimes post on there occasionally. And I also have a TikTok account, but I never ever use it.
You
So-
have one post there of you dancing.
Oh right, yeah. But yeah, like I'm pretty much never on there either, like posting wise. So yeah, other than that, I mean, much love and take care. And wrestling is awesome and shit.
Yes,
Yeah, that's right.
it
Well,
is.
wrestling is awesome except for when it's not.
Very
True.
That's what I.
Very true, man.
Very true, bro.
So, yeah.
Very true, man.
And yeah,
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
America.
And also, fuck you, AJ. Just kidding.
It's
So, I almost forgot about that. Can't forget about that part. Fuck.
all
Yeah.
a joke.
But yeah, no.
Don't worry. Don't go in the comments like, oh no, he said that. Censor. No, don't do that.
All right, I guess that's all for today. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Keep crashing and burning. And
Yes.
keep moshing and keep living like a movie star. We'll see you next time.
Shut the fuck up, Josh. Just kidding. Sorry.
Crash and burn!